Hey friends, my name is Richie and welcome back to my channel, Gender Not Found. I'm going to read a couple of chapters of A Guardian Angel. This video is going to contain 3 chapters, chapter 68, 69, and 70, and then I'm going to start doing them, I'm going to start doing 2 chapters at a time again. We are officially halfway through the book, by the way. I forgot to mention that at the end of chapter 67, at the end of the voiced upload I did the other day, but um, we are, in fact, halfway through the book. There's 134 chapters as of now, and so 67 is halfway through the book. So we're gonna, go ahead and read chapter 68 now. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I want, um, first of all, I like doing more chapters in one book, but I just want to, when I do 2 chapters, I want it to end on an even number, so like chapter 71 and 72. That's why I'm doing it this way. I was considering doing chapter 68 in a separate video, and then 69 and 70, but I decided not to. I decided not to. So, we're gonna do 3 chapters, and last time I did a burst upload, it was less than 2 hours, with, I think 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 5 chapters, but it was less than 2 hours. Anyways, so we're just gonna. Okay, so I'm gonna go on and read the book. And by the way, I'm recording this before I'm recording the prologue in chapter 1 of The Girl in the Bunny Hat, only because I have not quite finished chapter 1 yet, and I just wanted to do some recording before I go to the movies, because I have about 2 hours before I go to the movies, so this will probably take me, I don't know, maybe an hour to read if it's 20 minutes each chapter. We're gonna see. Anyway, it's gonna take as long as it's gonna take, and I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay. So, chapter 68. Try. It was a normal day. She woke up at 5 a.m., and with a yawn, the brunette looked out the window. It was raining. Lacing up her running shoes and pulling her hair out of her face, Lisa put the earbuds of her headphones in her ears and started on her morning run. It was normally a 3-mile run, but today it was 4. She'd been gaining a little weight lately, or so the girls at school said, and she was trying to lose it. Getting home, she took a shower, blow-dried, and curled her hair, then painted her nails the same color of her outfit today, and finally she put her makeup on. Her public awaited. Her parents dropped her off at the community college. She did promise to start taking classes if she wanted to stay with them rent-free after all. So making her way into the building, she shook off her sparkling purple umbrella before entering. To be honest, Lisa hated this place. It was like high school all over again, and she found herself trying to fit in so they would like her. She had 3 classes today: advanced algebra, which terrifyingly enough she found easy, literature, and world history. Algebra was the normal experience, but literature was where today's problem began. The moment she walked in and sat down, Lisa read the board and groaned. It stated simply, try. That meant that the teacher was going to announce one of her random projects again. The last time she did this, they had to write a 10-page story with characters, a plot, and everything. Oh. Just as she was remembering that particular difficult assignment, the sight of her teacher walking in caught Lisa's attention. What was more surprising, though, was that she didn't look as if she had intended to stay for the lesson. I want you to write either a poem or song, something that has great meaning to you that will stir up the emotions of your classmates and I. When we meet again on Monday, I want them read or sung. That being said, I have a family emergency and have to go. Class dismissed. I'll just assume that everyone's here today, she said, walking from the room. Shaking her head, Lisa grabbed her bag and walked from the room, wondering what her poem or song should be about. Normally she would ask Fiona, but with her having moved in with Marshall and being a few hours away, Lisa knew she couldn't. But there was someone she could ask. Marceline was in the middle of a recording with her phone, and with a sigh she hit the stop button and checked the caller ID before answering the call. "What's up, LSP?" "Marcy, I need your musical wisdom and junk." What? I have to write a song or a poem, and all these losers in my class are gonna write poems, so I want to write a song. Oh, okay, you can come over if you want. We can do it at my place. That way you can at least record it if you want. That would be cool. I'll be over soon. See you then, she said, hanging up the phone before turning back to her own song. She liked doing it all in one shot, so resetting the pre recorded instrumentals, all of which she did herself except the drums, which she did with the help of Ignitus's friend and bandmate Ash. Setting it on a timer, Marceline listened to the sound of the music, thinking of everything she wanted the song to be and mean. Finding her cue, she began to sing her song. You're the boy with a real nice smile, but a broken heart inside. Give it to a girl who lost her, and I think she lost her mind. Are you giving up and done? Are you through with all this? Are you tired of the pain, torn to pieces? This song had been pulling at her for months now. It needed to come out, and simply existing on paper wouldn't do it anymore. It couldn't because she was watching her friend deteriorate, and she couldn't do it anymore. He needed help, and she wanted to help him. He just needed to let her. Can you let me try? Tell me it's all right, just for one night. Show you how to feel like what it feels like. To be hugged, to be kissed. Yes, I can be that part of you. I'll try my best. Marceline could see it, how much Angel had ruined him. But that didn't make Ignitus himself ruined. Not at all. Everything was reversible. He could get off the drugs, he could be helped, and his heart could be mended. That, however, would be just a bit tougher. I'm the girl, I can make you smile, and I promise to be true. Give it all. Give until there's nothing left to lose. Don't say you're giving up and done, that you're through with all this. Yeah, you're tired of the pain, torn to pieces. Can you let me try? Would he? Tell me it's all right, just for one night. Show you how to feel like what it feels like. To be hugged, to be kissed, be thought of, and to be missed. I can be that part of you. Let me be that part of you. He was hurting so much. She could see him struggling, breaking with every blow that came his way, especially after the passing of his grandmother. She could see the look of defeat, and she could see him giving up on everything. And all Marceline wanted to do was save him. Save him from the depravities Angel had caused. Save him from the pain his parents constantly inflicted on him. Save him from the hurt of his grandmother's passing. I see that you're breaking, your heart is breaking. Here's my hand, if you'll take it, we can make it out of all this mess, no more stress. I can be that part of you, I'll try my best. She knew she could help Ignitus. Marceline knew it with every fiber of her being. He just needed somebody to love him unconditionally, with no rhyme or reason to do so, and she knew that she could. Give me a heart. I don't want a piece or a part. I want it all. I want you to fall. Just a little bit. Take that leap of faith. If you want to, don't let that broken heart haunt you. Can you let me try? Tell me it's all right just for one night. Show you how to feel like what it feels like. To be hugged, to be kissed, to be thought of, and to be missed. I can be that part of you. Let me be that part of you. I see that you're breaking. Your heart is breaking. Here's my hand, if you'll take it. We can make it out of all this mess. No more stress. I can be that part of you. I'll try my best. Oh, try my best. I can be that part of you. I'll try my best. Standing there silently, Marceline let the music play out until she hit the pause button, stopping the recording, saving it as she did so. That'd have been a good take. Suddenly, the sound of a voice made her jump. Oh my God, Marcy, that was lumping awesome! Turning, she spotted the source of the voice. Lisa, how long have you been standing there? Marceline asked in shocked embarrassment. Long enough to hear the end of your song. I knew you'd be the perfect person to help me with this song, she said with a smile. Okay, let's work on yours. What's that song about? Who the lump is it for, Marcy? Are you in love or something? Practically groaning, Marceline took a breath. Lisa, do you want help with your song or not? Heck lumping, yes. Okay, go to the writing table and we'll figure out what you want it to be about. I'll be done here in a second, she said, turning back to the recording booth and popping out the CD with the song on it. Writing the name of the song on a disc, she put it in a case before slipping it into her pocket for safekeeping. It had taken more than 10 takes to get a semi-decent version. Walking over to the table, Marceline sat down. She expected this to be easy because LSP, being LSP, would want a song about her or probably Brad, something superficial that she could show off to her friends at school. Okay, Lisa, what do you want to write about? She asked, picking up a pencil to write down her ideas. I want something different, she said cryptically. I want something the girls at school will like. Even though Marceline knew it was coming, she couldn't help the words coming from her mouth. Oh my God, Lisa, you don't have to try so hard for them. I mean, do they even like you? All you want is to belong, but they aren't your true friends. You don't have to give yourself away to them. You don't have to change who you are or even try to. Marceline snapped. I just want them to like me, Marcy, LSP said, getting frustrated. Her parents were telling her the same thing. But why should you care what they think of you? Lisa, do you like you? When you're alone, do you like who you are? Marceline listened to the silence and felt so bad as she watched her friend's watery eyes look away from her. You don't have to try, you know. Take your makeup off, let your hair down, take a breath, and go look at yourself in a mirror right now, she said, standing and pulling Lisa up with her into the bathroom. There, Marceline began wiping the makeup off her friend's face. You don't have to change a thing about you, Lisa. You know that, right? I maxed out my parents' credit cards buying clothes so they would like me, she said softly, as Marceline continued wiping off the many layers of makeup. Finally, she pulled her hair from its knot and let it fall down. This is the Lisa I like, the one who doesn't have to try and be different, the one who is who she is and loves herself for it. Hearing this, the brunette tried to hug Marceline. I think I know what I want to write about now, Marcy, Lisa said, rubbing her eyes. Okay, we'll make your song then, she said with a smile. Man, alright. That Monday morning, Lisa woke up at 6 a.m. She went on her morning run, not to lose weight, but just for her peace of mind. She dressed in clothes that she thought looked good on her. Today it didn't matter what anyone thought about her. The song she and Marceline had made over the weekend made her see that. Walking into the school, she passed the girls she'd been wanting to see as friends, and they didn't give her a second glance. That hurt her feelings, but no more than it had when they teased her for being curvy. Walking into her classes, Lisa easily finished her algebra test and waited, wondering what everyone would think of her song in class. Finally, the class was dismissed, and making the way to her literature class, LSP could feel her nervousness building, though much to her surprise, Marceline was standing near the door. Marcy, what are you doing here? I had a few classes here last year with Fiona. It wasn't tough to find the class, she said with a shrug. Besides, I wanted to see what they thought of your song. Hearing this, Lisa smiled, knowing that the reason Marceline was here was for more than she'd said. She had her guitar, so if she actually had to sing the song, she'd have the music with her. Marcy, you're an awesome friend. I know I am, she said, grinning as the two walked into the classroom, Marceline grabbing a seat next to Lisa. The room began to fill up, and finally the teacher walked in. Okay, class, your poems and songs are due today. I can imagine that it would be incredibly difficult to sing for those of you who wrote a song. Who did, by the way? She asked, looking around, though to her surprise, the only one who raised her hand was LSP. So Lisa here is the only one to write a song? She asked, scanning the room again. Would you like to sing it for us? I'm not too great at singing, but if you let my friend Marceline sing with me, I will, Lisa said, looking at Marceline, watching as she nodded. All right, that's not a problem at all. Whenever you two want, you can go now or before class ends. Lisa and Marceline spoke quietly between themselves for a moment before Lisa turned to her teacher. We'll go now. Okay, she said brightly, walking from the front of the class to sit and watch the two young women as they moved to the front. And as soon as they were ready, Marceline began playing on her guitar. Put your makeup on, get your nails done, curl your hair, run the extra mile, keep it slim so they like you, do they like you? Get your sexy on, don't be shy, girl, take it off. This is what you want to belong so they like you. Do, do you like you? You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try. You don't have to try. Ooh, get your shopping on at the mall. Max your credit cards. You don't have to choose. Buy it all. Say they like you. Do they like you? Wait a second. Why should you care what they think of you? When you're all alone, by yourself. Do you like you? Do you like you? You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to bend until you break. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try. You don't have to try. No. Oh. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try. Take your makeup off, let your hair down. Take a breath, look into the mirror at yourself. Don't you like you? 'Cause I like you. Their song ended, and LSP looked around, feeling awkward until finally the teacher started clapping enthusiastically. Lisa, that was wonderful. Did you really come up with that all by yourself? Kind of. Marceline and I were talking, and some of what we talked about was the basis of the song. She made me realize that I don't have to make people like me, that all I have to do is just be myself, she said with a shrug. Well, it was wonderful, and your friend playing the guitar did a fantastic job. You'll definitely have a good grade for this, the teacher said with a smile before calling up the next student. I'm gonna bail now. Have fun with your poetry, Marceline said, watching as Lisa scowled before sighing and sitting back down. Marceline had a feeling that she wouldn't have to worry about LSP being anything other than herself anytime soon. Alright, well that was fun. Sorry that I was just saying all the lyrics, but I don't know how those songs go, so it just made more sense for me to just read it out instead of trying to guess the melody or whatever. But that was really cute, and I like this idea, and um, I really love that was really adorable. That was just about LSP and Marceline, and then yeah. You got um, and yes, LSP's voice sounds like a lot less like a girl than the others because in the show she sounds like a guy. I think that's the thing, is it? But regardless, that's how I did it and I like it, so um, and I haven't got Marceline's voice just perfect yet, but I think what I was doing in this chapter is the best it's gonna get. I can't get it exactly right, but I think it's close enough. And the guy said that, oh, the song that LSP and Marcy sang in this chapter is an actual song. Oh, okay. We've got Try by Colby Calate. I don't know. It's Caillat. And the song Marceline sings is Prove You Wrong by He Is We. Really? Alright. So they're real songs, and I'm gonna actually look them up after because now I'm curious. And I really like the song that LSP sang, even if it's a real song. I didn't know it was a real song, but there's always like author's notes after the chapter, but I'm a little gun shy to be just reading them, after the guy said he only follows canon and, spoilers. So, um anyway, I'm gonna record the other couple chapters because it's only 10 after 2 right now, and that didn't take very long. It's been less than 20 minutes. So I'm gonna record the other two chapters and I'm leaving for the movies probably, I don't know, quarter to 4, maybe a slightly later, but I do have a bottle of Diet Coke in the fridge, even though it's it's not very fizzy anymore, but right now it's fizzier than the soda that's actually at the movies. So, I figure I might as well do that. And I feel like the fizziness is getting worse. Like, there's becoming less and less fizz. So, hopefully it comes back soon because I'm pretty sure, like, the waves of COVID keep coming and they're ruining my freaking soda. So, I'm gonna look into some kind of solution for that. And I was already looking into SodaStream, but apparently it's still gonna taste flat, whatever that means. Like, it does put the carbonation back in, but it's still gonna taste flat, so I don't really know how to deal with that. I'm gonna have to figure something out. There's also a solution for dry ice, and I think I saw something um also about putting vinegar and baking soda to make your drink less flat. I'm gonna look into that too. Although I can't imagine how that would not be disgusting with vinegar and baking soda. How's that not gonna taste like vinegar? Okay, I don't know. But I'm gonna be right back with the next chapter anyway. And I'm back with another chapter, so we got 2 more chapters to go for this video. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next, guys. I love this book, like, I've been in love with it for a while now, like, I enjoyed it at the start, but now I like it a lot more, like, ever since, I think the whole thing with Ignitus's parents kicking him out and then, like, yeah, ever since Ignitus's parents kicking him out and that whole thing, and Marshall being diagnosed with cancer and that stuff like that. I can't remember exactly when that was. Those of you guys who have watched my videos up to now can probably tell me what it was. And if you haven't seen every video up till now, but you want to, there is a playlist. It's gonna be like um it's on my channel, like it's one of my official playlists, but it has like everything I've read up till now, like all the chapters, like a lot of videos contain more than one chapter, like um, it even includes like I actually started reading it on my old channel, and I read I think 3 or 4 chapters on my old channel, so it includes those too as well. So it's just an entire playlist with like every single chapter up till now. I hope that that should be up to date. Alright. Anyway, I really want to find out what happens next. Like, I really love this book. Like, I love reading it, but I'm also getting so caught up in it that, um, there's other stuff I want to read too, and I just end up reading this again because I would rather read this than read the other stuff because I'm actually super into this book. But, yeah, my hope is it's only September 1st, so I feel like if I keep if I keep reading this and then uploading, because right now I'm uploading almost every single day, or at least every other day. Like, sometimes I can only upload every other day, and that's because it takes so long to upload a video. So, usually what I end up having to do is, record during the day and then upload at night, like while I'm sleeping. So, like, I'll go to bed at like 1 a.m. and then I'll like set up a video to upload right before I head to bed. And that's why I've only got one video too as well. Like, I've only got one video going up at a time. I've only got like one video going up at a time because I want to make sure it's in order. Like, it's just tricky to do, but maybe what I should do in the future is like have maybe just like upload some stuff during the day sometimes and just set it up so like I'm recording and then like uploading the next day. I do a bunch of uploads, or like I can pause and upload until the other video is uploaded, like if it's lagging behind or whatever, because I just want to make sure things are in order, like especially when I'm doing like I've basically just been doing mainly fiction readings, so I want to make sure all the chapters are in order and they're not out of order when they're uploaded, if that makes any sense. So, anyway, alright, moving on. Chapter 69. Giggity. Sorry, I had to. Letting go. 3 months earlier. They had met up for coffee. Fiona told Marceline she wanted a favor, and never did Marcy think that this one favor would change her world. Marcy, please, it's just one date. Just one. You don't have to do anything or go on another one. Marsh just wants to get Ash out there, the blonde said earnestly, hoping her friend would accept. So I'm gonna be a practice date? That's really sucky sounding, Fiona, Marceline said with a sigh as she sat across from the blonde in the coffee house. I will never ask you to do something like this ever again, I swear, Fiona said, sounding sincere. Fiona, I'm into somebody else, Marceline said, wondering what Ignitus would think of this whole blind date thing she was being set up on. You don't have to do anything with him, just the date. We just think that him going on a date or two will be. What do you mean, or two? The black-haired woman said in surprised shock. She still hadn't agreed to one. This was getting absurd. Only if you want to, the blonde said quickly, watching her friend sigh in exasperation. Please. Ah, fine. I'll do it, but just one date, Fiona. No more, she said, taking a sip of her coffee, staring out the window in annoyance. What am I getting myself into with this? She thought, still gazing out the window. 2 months earlier. Marceline had to admit, disturbingly enough, Ash could be charming. He was nowhere near as charming as Ignitus granted, but he still got it across. They met at a restaurant, and with a smile, Marceline greeted him, taking and shaking the hand he offered to her. Bleh. So, yeah, sorry about this. I know Fiona probably pushed you into this as much as the guys did to me, he said quietly. That's okay, I needed to get out more anyways, Marceline said with a shrug, hoping that what she said helped him some. Apparently, it hadn't, because at the beginning of the date he'd been stiff and rigid, even standoffish, watching as she ordered an alcoholic drink. But as the time went on, mostly after an awkward dinner, she'd begun to enjoy his company, especially after they got onto the topic of music. His jokes were dark and occasionally sadistic, and oddly perfectly her humor. Suddenly this date didn't seem to be so sucky anymore, and as they both relaxed and talked, the time flew by. By the end of their date, Ash walked Marceline to her doorstep, and after debating it for a minute or two, kissed her cheek and asked if he could take her out again. Not seeing the harm in it, Marceline agreed, smiling as she walked into the house. They went on a second date, then a third and fourth, until finally, several weeks later, he asked if she wanted to be his girlfriend. That was when the problem began. Marceline didn't answer right away. She told Ash that she needed time to think on it, and he told her to take as long as she wanted. Before she could make this decision, there was one person she wanted to talk to. Um, I don't know a lot about Adventure Time, but isn't Ash kind of a dick in the show? Current time. As difficult as it was for everyone else to find Ignitus, Marceline found it easy, especially since he told her where he was going every time he moved to a new place, and told her every time he changed his phone number. She was able to find him at his apartment, and knocking on the door, she watched as Ignitus opened it, looking surprised to see her. Hey, what's up? He asked, opening the door wider and allowing Marceline to enter the apartment. She had a look on her face that Ignitus was not quite sure he liked. Ig, can I talk to you about something? And there they were, those words that meant something big was about to happen. Almost immediately he felt nervous, and refusing to let it show, he headed into the apartment. Yeah, he said, turning and making his way into the living room, sitting on the couch. Marceline looked around the barren apartment, spotting boxes in the corner. Are you moving again? She asked quietly. Yeah, Marcy, what did you want to talk about? He asked, figuring that it was best just to get right to the point. Now Marceline sat on the couch feeling awkward, though after a breath she spoke. Do you remember? Now she closed her eyes. Never did Marceline think that it would be this hard. It felt as if she was breaking up with him. Do you remember what we talked about that day in my father's library? About how you were trying to change and about how it's okay if either of us finds somebody else? Ignitus asked, finishing her sentence for her, having a sinking feeling that he knew what was coming next. Yeah, she said softly. It's Ash, isn't it? Silently, he watched as she nodded her head slowly. Do you love him? He asked. I think that I do. But I don't want to hurt you. Immediately he cut her off. Don't worry about me. I just want you to be happy, even if it's not with me, he said with a hurt look on his face. Standing from his seat, Ignitus walked into the kitchen, Marceline following him. Iggy, I'm sorry, she said, watching as he looked at her, disappointment on his features. Marceline, I wish it had been me. I wish I was able to get myself clean sooner, he said quietly. What about the other girl you thought you loved? She asked softly, hoping that maybe she'd come around so he wouldn't be so hurt. She's like a sister to me. I get that now. Marcy? He asked now looking up at her. Yeah, Iggy? Can you promise me something? He asked, growing more serious, and seeing the look on his face, she nodded. Sure. If he ever hurts you, tell me. What? Why would he do that? I don't mean physically, I mean at all. Emotionally. Emotionally, physically, if he cheats on you, hurts your feelings, whatever, I don't care. Just promise me that you'll tell me, he said more insistently. Oh, okay, I promise, Ignitus, she said softly, watching as he smiled, the smile never reaching his eyes. As long as you're happy. Ignitus, why are you doing this? All of this? Because I love you, and now I have to let you go, he said softly as he leaned against the counter. I think about you all the time, she whispered, feeling like they were on the edge of a precipice, that right now there was a hugely defining moment in their odd relationship happening at this very moment. And little did she know, but Ignitus felt it too. Pushing off the counter, he stopped only inches from her. Hesitating, he brought his hand up to her cheek, feeling as she pressed into his palm. Leaning forward, he stopped himself just moments from her lips, and instead pressed his lips to her forehead. I think you should leave before we do something you'll regret. She could hear the hurt and restraint in his voice, and taking a step back, Marceline looked at her friend. He'd grown in the 4 years she'd known him. He wasn't the goofy teenager anymore, but that light of innocent mischief he'd always had in his eyes had dimmed. He was taller, grown up, but still making troubling choices, and she knew more than anything that she did love him, that he did and probably would always have a spot in her heart. Okay, Ignitus watched as she walked towards the door, and before she could open it, his voice stopped her. I think about you all the time, too. It was almost impossible to distinguish the sound of his voice from the deafening silence, but she'd heard it, and by the look on his face, it had slipped out. So with a smile, she did what she always did when she left his place. Opening the door, she paused halfway to turn and wave, this time pretending that she hadn't heard those words that had betrayed him, as she walked from the apartment watching as he drained the glass of water in his hand. Closing the door behind her, Marceline sighed, and as she walked down the hall, pressing the button for the elevator, the sound of smashing glass met her ears from several doors down. He never felt more embarrassed and hurt and so frustrated, and she wasn't even his girlfriend. He knew. Ignitus knew it would happen, but still he didn't want to accept it. He knew that they had gone on that date, and he was pissed about it. But after several weeks of their dating, Ignitus knew it would eventually happen, and that Marceline would fall for Ash. Knowing it didn't make it hurt any less, though. He'd thrown the glass at the wall in a fit of anger. He was so mad, but at himself, not at her. It wasn't Marceline's fault that he was being such a coward, such a fool to hope that she would wait for him forever. He felt so stupid, so ridiculous. It had become a routine thing to see Marceline and Ash together, and every time Ignitus felt as if he was falling deeper into whatever it was he was descending into, deeper with every touch of their hands, deeper with every hug, deeper with every kiss. Around them, around the group, he hid behind empty smiles, trying so hard not to be noticed, to be called out upon it, and he succeeded. He'd been determined to be alone, always alone, with nobody, not even Marceline or Amber to know where he was. Marceline had spoken to him less and less, and had all but vanished off his radar, barely even texting him now, though he would see her more than once a week. For the first time in a long time, after 6 months of Ash and Marceline dating, Ignitus moved and didn't tell her where he'd been going. He vanished without a word. Things had been going great. They'd fought a few times, sure, but what couple didn't? Today was moving day, and even though it seemed a bit too soon, to Marceline it felt right. Ash wanted to be out on his own as much as she did, so why shouldn't they get a place together? They'd found a little place, and after being together for 9 months, had decided to go for it. Things were on a routine schedule. Ash would go to the recording studio with the guys, and Marceline would go to the Forest Center. They would work, depending on the schedule, one would make dinner for the other when they got home. Usually it was Marceline as she got home sooner, and then they would hang out with the guys, or by themselves. Tonight was movie night, and as they watched the cheesy horror flick, Marceline sighed. You know that I haven't heard from Ignitus in a while, Ash? Yeah, he does that sometimes. The guy's a loner. Not much that we can do about that, he said, focusing on the movie. I know that, but don't you worry when he just vanishes? She asked quietly, pulling out her cell phone as she began texting her friend, staring in shock at the reply to her text. Error number 273, the person you are trying to reach is no longer available. Please use a 10-digit number and try again. He changed his number, she said in shock, though to her annoyance Ash didn't seem too concerned. FP always does that, Marcy. No, he never changes his number without telling me what the new one is, she said in shock. Marceline, seriously, let it go. He does this all the time. Has he been to the recordings? She asked, sounding hurt. No, all his parts are done, he said, watching as she sighed before looking down. Marcy, listen, I know Ignitus. I've known him a lot longer than you have. It's fine. But he's my friend. He's never not told me when he does this, she said quietly. Marceline, all he wants is to get into your pants, Ash said flatly, watching as she looked up, at him, feeling absolutely insulted. That's not true. Of course it is, Marceline, you're beautiful. Any guy would be lucky to have you. I know I am. But Ignitus, he does things his own way. He doesn't date for relationships like me, Mo, and Marshall. He only dates chicks to get something from them, whether it's sex, drugs, or whatever. He only wanted you for one thing, Marceline, so don't think his smooth talking was anything big. He just wanted to see what he could get from you. And just like he does with all the other girls, when that well goes dry, he drops them like bricks, he said roughly, watching as Marceline looked down, hurt written on her features. Ash couldn't be right. He didn't know Ignitus like she did. Standing to her feet, Marceline felt as her hand was grabbed. Marceline, it's better off this way. I didn't really like you hanging out with him anyways. Ash said, letting her hand go. I'm gonna go to bed, she said softly as she walked from the room. Ash sat watching the TV when a twinkling sound pinged on the cell phone next to him. Glancing over, he realized it was Marceline's and spotted the message before it could fade. Hey, Marcy, 843-347-3269, giggity. Hey, Marcy, it's Ig. This is my new number. Reaching over, Ash grabbed the phone, feeling only jealousy. Quickly, he typed a response before deleting the number from the phone and setting it back where it had been before. Every now and again, he glanced at the phone waiting for a reply, and seeing none, he left the phone there as he headed to bed. Marceline was his girlfriend, and maybe this would help Ignitus get the picture. Ignitus could do nothing but stare at the text message. All he felt was such overwhelming hurt. Something only she could cause on magnitudes like this. Marcy, I never want to hear from you again. I wish I never met you. Lose my number. Why would she do this? Why? What did he do? The pain he'd felt reading those words had been immense. He couldn't do it anymore, because this time he wasn't falling, he was crashing into some dark pit of despair. Only this time he had nothing to climb out for. Nothing at all, not anymore. He was falling deeper and deeper, falling and falling, only this time he didn't try to stop it from happening. That last lifeline was gone now, and he wasn't afraid of where he was going to end up. Oh no. Oh no. Blah, blah, blah. I thought, I'll bet some of you are mad at me for this. Yes. Well, I don't know a lot about the show, like I said, but I think isn't Ash kind of a jerk in the show too? So it makes sense because he previously said, "Oh, I follow canon, so I'm not really gonna look up and find out what he actually did." But from what I've heard, he's not really such a good guy in the show either. Like, I forget what he did, and I'm not gonna look it up because I don't want to go looking for spoilers for the show. That's never my intention. But, this actually, if anything, this book really makes me want to watch the show some more because I do have the entire box set. Like I was on that shopping spree last summer because I got my victims comp and it was like $7,000. So I went on this like buying spree. I bought books, I bought a bunch of TV shows, I bought movies, I bought like a ton of other stuff. Um, some of and quite a bit of my victims comp actually went towards my rats. I probably spent like around $2,000 on like everything they needed and the rats themselves and the babysitting fees so the pet store would continue watching over them and then like vet bills for Mocha's allergies. So oh, Ignitus's phone number spells out the Fire Boy, apparently. But yeah, I heard that Ash is kind of a jerk in the show, too, so... And I was wondering, like, oh, well, he seems like a perfectly nice guy in this book, but, not so much anymore. Now he's an asshole. And I'm super scared for Ignitus now because like I've totally fallen in love with these characters throughout the book. Like I already really liked them because of Adventure Time, but like this book is what made me totally fall for them. Like the characters that I already knew and enjoyed on TV, like Finn and Marceline and Fiona and Marshall and stuff like that. Like I love them so. And then, with this book, it makes me really feel for them and love them. And I know this isn't like the same world. This is alternate universe. It's like human universe, but it's humaniverse. Anyway, I'm really, really worried about Iggy. Yeah, I'm really, really worried about Iggy because I don't know like what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. Um, he needed Marceline, and now Ash did he ruin that. So I'm really scared for what's gonna happen next. I'm worried about Ignitus, um, which is actually a lot easier than being worried about my sister. So I'm just gonna like I'm focusing on this book because my sister. The reason I started uploading every day again is because my sister is in kind of a dark place right now. Like, she's not like suicidal or anything, I mean, from what I understand, but she's having some issues. I'm not gonna give out too many details, obviously, because, like, I don't even know all the details. I just know that something happened between her and her girlfriend, and, they both have mental health issues, and then things just, happened. And point is, she's back with my mom, and she's spending a lot of time at her other friend's house, which might even turn into something. Who knows? Kind of hoping that it does, cause that'd be nice. But I guess we'll see. But regardless of anything, I started uploading like every day again, just to focus on something other than, my sister. Also, my mom's been sick with COVID for what is it now, like 2 weeks? She was getting better, so she did come over last Saturday, and she is gonna come over again this Saturday. Like I missed her 2 week almost 2 weeks ago. I saw her on Friday when she got home from her teachers conference, which was like 4 days in Toronto. It was the whole ETFO, I think it's called, the meeting, which is like for a few days in Toronto. So she was there, and then she came back, and I saw her on Friday evening. She came to do dishes and stuff like that, and just to say hi to me, and because I missed her. And then next day she woke up and she was sick with COVID, and that happened. So, it sucked, but not really much you can do. Like, I thought, and then anyway, she was feeling better after a few days, so she did come over on Saturday. I saw her then, and I'm gonna see her again this Saturday. She's not completely feeling better yet, so just staying out my apartment, and then we're gonna probably just hang out at my apartment again, unless something happens. Unless she feels a lot better tomorrow. Tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but Saturday. I don't know. Anyway, but I'm not gonna expect it. Also, she might be going to Kingston tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow! I forgot to tell you guys. My name change is happening, finally. My mom is to get taken care of tomorrow. So, we're gonna deal with it, like, in the morning, and then that's gonna be it. Basically, it's gonna happen tomorrow, and she and I are gonna deal with it. We got like a guarantor and everything that I need, and so we're all good. So basically, this is the last steps we have to make, and we're gonna deal with it, and we're gonna get it done, and then my mom says she doesn't know if we can put it in the mail yet, which not exactly sure what that means, but I think you have to put the papers in the mail or something, and then there's some whatever. Point is, we're gonna be in, I guess, in court or wherever the name change takes place. And I saved some money for it because I got a kickback from the government. Like, I got money from the government, and it was like, I think I got like 100 and some kind of dollars from the government. So I put that directly in my savings account, and I was like, I'm gonna use this for my I'm use this for my name change thing because it's like 130 something. I think it's like 134, $135 to for a name change. So I need the money for that, and then I'm gonna we're gonna deal with that. So I also meant to ask my mom about the gender change too. But we're gonna do the name change tomorrow, so I'm really looking forward to that. Um, anyway, I'm really excited. But I have been uploading every day just because, it's easier than thinking about what's actually going on in my life and my sister, and just worrying about her. Just sitting around worrying about her. Also, I wanted to try and upload every day again, too, and, my sister, it really gave me the kick in the butt that I needed to deal with that, and, it's not just about her, it's affecting my life too, because obviously she's living back with my mom. So in order to hang out at her place, we have to like kick my sister out of the house, which I feel shitty about because she's going through a tough time, but I have emotional needs that need to be met too. So it's tricky like my mom and I are figuring it out, and it's just frustrating as all. So anyway, I will be right back with another chapter. Alright, this is the next chapter, the last chapter for this, video. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, chapter 70, Cruel Intentions. Fiona had absolutely no idea what to do. Two of her best friends were verbally tearing each other to shreds, and she, Marshall, and Mokro could do nothing but watch it happen. Marceline and Ignitus seemed to be having some kind of huge blowout that shockingly could be heard through the recording glass, which was supposed to be soundproof. She and the boys were trying to look busy, and Ash was nowhere to be found at the moment. But suddenly it all went silent, and this earned Fiona's glance. Marceline was holding Ignitus's phone, staring at the screen in what looked to be shock, before staring up at him and back at the screen again. Something it seemed on the phone had stopped their fight. That or it had been the start of it. Fiona honestly couldn't tell. All she knew was that FP had been completely cold towards all of them that morning, especially Marceline, and that was not like him at all earlier that day. Fiona was excited. This was the last recording session for their second CD, and for the first time in a few months, everyone would be here to do finishing touches on their specific parts, and so they could hear the completed product of all their hard work. There were a few parts that Fiona wanted to touch up, and for the most part it was the guys, Marshall in particular, that wanted to nail a tricky solo here and there. They had been there for almost 2 hours when Marceline walked in with a box of donuts, and 2 bags from Cinnabon. Oh, sorry guys, I was just thinking about how good a Cinnabon tastes. Oh my god. And donuts. I don't know if they're from Krispy Kreme, but I just imagine they're from Krispy Kreme. After setting the bags down and giving a kiss to Ash, Marceline walked over to where Ignitus was sitting with a notebook and nudged him. I stopped by Cinnabon on the way here, and I knew how much you liked them, so I grabbed you one. She said with a smile, hoping that maybe today he might explain to her why he changed his number without telling her. To her surprise, though, Ignitus completely ignored her, finished writing the sentence in his notebook, and stood walking past her and leaving all of them shocked, most of all Marceline. She turned looking at the door he walked out of before looking back at the group. Can somebody tell me what I did? She asked, looking hurt. I don't know, Fiona said softly. He was fine all morning. I mean, he was quiet, but he didn't do anything like that. Babe, he's probably just in a bad mood. I mean, he did get asked to redo a few sets, Ash said with a shrug, sounding uninterested, which had pissed off his girlfriend big time. Oh my glob, Ash, you don't get it, okay? It never changes his number, and he never not accepts Cinnabon when I bring him one, and he doesn't ignore me. He's one of my best friends, and I'm one of his, and something's wrong with him, and I may not know what it is, but I'm gonna find out, Marceline said, walking from the room, leaving the rest of them behind, her boyfriend scowling. Why was she doing this? Why? Was it an act to keep up in front of Fiona and the guys, or was she just crazy and he'd missed it? Sitting outside of the recording studio, Ignitus sighed, watching the fog come from between his lips as he did so, and leaning back against the wall as he sat down. He couldn't keep doing this. He couldn't. He couldn't work with her, and working with her dad meant working with her. Hearing a beeping on his phone, Ignatius pulled it out, spotting a text from Marshall and another from Theo. Marshall, dude, what's going on with you and Marcy? Theo, the playing of the new CD is in 20 minutes. Thought you should know, Ig. He ignored both of them and continued sitting outside, feeling the cold air against his skin. It was cloudy and gray out, and he watched as tiny white flakes began falling from the clouds. He didn't like snow, not in the least, so with another sigh he stood and walked into the building. He didn't mind snow so much when he was warm, but when he had to be out in it, that's when he hated the snow. Ignatius hadn't been in the hallway for more than a moment as he warmed his hands when he saw her heading towards him. Turning, he headed towards the door. He'd rather be cold than to see Marceline right now, though before he could leave, she grabbed at shirt. "What the hell are you so mad at me about?" she snapped as he turned around to face her. "Seriously, what did I do to you, Ignatius? Did I piss you off? Did I do something or say something wrong?" "Like you don't know, Marceline. Don't play dumb. It doesn't suit you," the redhead said, walking past her and making his way back to the recording studio. "Damn it, Ignatius, what's your problem?" Marceline yelled, feeling so frustrated as she followed after him. Suddenly, outside of the recording room, he rounded on her, those words making him completely unable to hold it back any longer. "What's my problem? You are. You're the one who started all of this. You're the one who never wants to speak to me again. You're the one who wishes that we'd never met," he shouted, sounding so hurt that she was taken aback. "What? Ignatius, I never said that." "Yeah, you did. You said that after I texted you my new number," he said, feeling so frustrated. Why would she lie to him about something she'd so obviously done? "Ig, you never sent me your number. How could I do that if I didn't have it?" "Yeah, you did. Look at it. It's not like you can hide a text that you sent to somebody else. After all, they do end up getting it, Marcy." "Wait, what?" Marceline watched as he pulled out his cell phone, typing on the screen before holding it out for her to see. Carefully, Marceline took it, staring at the phone before looking back to her friend. "I never wrote this," she said softly, scanning the screen, before finally spotting the date that it was sent. Almost immediately, she felt a wave of anger wash over her. It had been that same night that she'd found out that he'd changed his number. There was only one person who could have done this, and scanning the recording room, he was notably absent from the group of band members. Still holding onto the phone, Marceline turned on her heel and walked down the hall, knowing exactly where Ash would be. Finally, she found him in one of the meeting rooms, the one where they would go to have some alone time. "Hey, babe. Don't you bathe me. What the hell is this?" she asked, thrusting the phone in his face. "It's FP's phone, Marcy. Why would I know what's on it?" He asked with a shrug of his shoulders. "Ashton, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Why would you send this to Ignatius? You know how depressed he's been lately and how much he's struggling. Something like this from a friend as close as I am, as close as all of us are to him, could have set him off. It's not like he's suicidal, Marcy." "Jeez, that's a low bar." "That's not the point. He could have hurt himself, or hurt other people, or drank until he got really sick. So tell me why you would do this to him." Marceline was so angry, but more than that, she was hurt. Hurt that he would do such a thing that could cause such harm to one of his friends. I don't think they're friends. "Ash, tell me why." "He wanted you. He wanted what was mine," Ash said simply as he walked from the room, "and I was tired of it." Hearing this, Marceline was quick to follow after him. "She's not some possession that you can own." "I'm not yours. I'm not anyone's. You can't tell me who I can and cannot hang around with, Ash." Almost immediately, the sound of crunching drywall was heard as Marceline let out a panicked gasp, her back against the wall. He'd punched the wall right near her head. Glancing over, she spotted the hole in the wall only inches from her face, and flinched when she felt his fingers touch her cheek. "I'm sorry. It's just you mean so much to me, and I never want to lose you, Marceline. Not to anyone, and especially not to Ignitus. I don't like how he looks at you, and I don't want him near you. I don't trust him. I just love you so much," he said, tilting her chin upwards so he could look her in the eye. "You know that, right?" Yeah," she said quietly, honestly afraid to move away from him. "Marceline, Ash, we're getting ready to play the CD. Marcy, you go to the studio. Ash, I would like to speak to you." Hearing the familiar voice, Marceline felt only relief as she stepped away from her boyfriend and towards her father. Sure, Dad, she said, walking away quickly down the hall, knowing that she was shaking and probably looking as pale as she felt. The moment she rounded the corner and her father was sure that she was out of earshot, he began speaking. First of all, you're dating my daughter. She will be treated with respect. Hudson said, narrowing his eyes as he glared at the young man in front of him. If I ever see you raise a hand again in her presence out of anger in any form that is not you protecting her from somebody else, we will have a problem. Do you understand, Mr. Graham? Yes, Mr. Aberdeen. Good. Now for the hole you put in the wall of my recording studio. Obviously, that will be taken from your portion of the proceeds from the CD, and any more intentional damage to my studio will be met with legal action. So do yourself a favor and keep your temper under control. Without another word, the older man turned and walked down the hall. Well, good, at least he's getting what he deserves. Hopefully, he'll leave her alone. Ignitus had been waiting in the playroom for Marceline to return from wherever she'd gone with his phone, but when she returned he hadn't expected her to be pale and shaking, and that alone had earned more than just his attention. Marcy, are you okay? Fiona asked, sounding concerned. Marceline didn't even respond, but instead nodded. Walking over to Ignitus, she held out his phone to him. Carefully he took it, staring at her, and watching as she stared back nervously as Ash entered the room. Marceline, are you okay? He asked, feeling as she pressed the button to unlock his phone, before she nodded, tapping the phone discreetly as Ash grabbed her arm. Come sit with me, he said, smiling, as Marceline smiled back at him, being led across the room. Ignitus glanced at them for a moment, before checking his phone and staring in shock at the note written in his text box. Almost immediately he could feel his blood boiling as he clenched his fist. Never did he imagine that 4 words would get him so angry. It said simply, Ash almost hit me. He watched them like a hawk for the rest of the evening. Even the slightest movement Marceline made, Ignitus scrutinized it. Was Ash doing something he shouldn't? Was he hurting her in a way they couldn't see? Where was his other hand, and did Ignitus have to break it? Bad idea, he was the drummer. You can't break drummers' hands. You could, however, break the leg that didn't use the pedal on the drum. Oh, decisions, decisions, decisions. By the time the CD was finished playing, it was obvious that Ignitus was in a bad mood, and having a feeling that a fight would start the moment they all entered the hallway, Marshall made it a point to keep FP in the music room with much difficulty until Ash and Marceline had gone. Dude, what's going on? First you were totally rude to Marceline, and Glob knows you were never like that with her. Then the entire time the CD was going, you were giving Ash death glares, like you wanted to wring his neck. What's going on with you, man? Marshall asked seriously. Did you did you notice how freaked out she looked when she came back in? FP asked as Marshall nodded. Yeah, you couldn't not notice it. Ash almost hit her. What? Dude, that has to be wrong. Marshall. Ash almost hit her. Oh, what the fuck? Did you notice how freaked out she looked when she came back in? FP asked as Marshall nodded. Yeah, you couldn't not notice it. Ash almost hit her. What? Dude, that has to be wrong. Marshall said, following Unitas from the room. The redhead walked in the direction that Marceline had gone in after their argument, and after walking down several hallways he spotted a hole in the wall, and the dust from the drywall still on the floor. Do you see the floor? This just happened. This isn't something old, Marsh. I don't like this, Ignitus said quietly. Dude, there has to be some kind of mistake. Maybe he tripped? Or... The look on Ignitus's face told Marshall what he already knew. There was no way this was an accident. Okay, so what do we do about this? You mean aside from beat his ass? Yeah, aside from that, we need our drummer, Egg. Dude, I know, but I swear to Glob, if he so much as touches her, I'll kill him. Hearing this, Marshall chewed his thumbnail. He needed to think of a way to get Ignitus to both calm down and not kill Ash. Maybe we have to set up an intervention or something. What, like Douches Anonymous, except he's the only member? Ignitus snapped, storming away from the hole in the wall. It had only served to make him angrier. FP, listen, we'll figure something out, okay? Just don't go crazy on me, Marshall said, keeping up with him, sliding to a halt as his best friend quickly stopped. Listen, I can stay out of it, and I will for as long as I can. I'll promise you that much, Marsh. But the second he so much as touches her in any way that isn't appropriate, I can't promise you that I won't knock his teeth down his throat. I will do something to him, and I can't promise you that I won't. Ignitus said seriously, his hands shaking out of such frustrated anger. I'll talk to him. I'll find something to talk to him about, but I'll talk to him. I swear it, Marshall said, watching as Ignitus nodded. Okay, Marshall didn't look too convinced with Ignitus's willingness to accept those demands, but he hoped that things would be better, that he could figure out what was going on with Ash and maybe fix it before things got out of hand. Because knowing Ignitus like he did, Marshall knew that he meant every word of what he'd said. Okay, guys. Uh, well, now I'm worried for Marceline because she's in an abusive relationship, and obviously she's like tiptoeing and being super careful, which is good. Like, you should be careful when you're in abusive relationships, and I know abusive relationships because I came from an abusive home. My dad was abusive, and yeah, my dad was abusive and he was terrible to all of us, and we all suffered for it, and we all have trauma that we're working through. That's why I have mental health issues. That's why my sister has mental health issues. My mom has stuff going on too. Like, we all are we're in individual therapy except for my sister. I'm on medication as well for like depression and severe mental health issues. Like, I've been on medication since I was like 15 or 16 or something. Probably 16. Um, but it's been a while anyway. So, yeah, like, I know abusive relationships. I understand how they work, and it's not always the same in every single case, but obviously Ash is abusive, and this is a problem, and I'm worried about Marceline. And she's so nice in this book. And I say in this book because I've seen people write books where she's like this hard ass or this bad girl or whatever who's just kind of like short with everyone, people she doesn't like and stuff. And I don't know. I also read a chapter of a book which didn't work out because either I forgot to press record or um there was no like there was no audio in the recording or something like that. Like, it was one of those because I don't remember, but I don't remember which, but there was a reason why I didn't upload it, and basically, it's like a Marceline and Bonnibel story, like romance, and in the first chapter that I read, she starts off hating Bonnibel and just like glaring at her and literally says, I hate you to her and all kinds of stuff like that. Like, she's not a nice person. But in this story, she is a nice person, and I think we got a pretty good idea of what kind of character she is, or she's written as, in this story from the chapter with LSP, which was super sweet and cute, and I love it. And so I'm obviously really nervous for her being in an abusive relationship. But, hopefully she makes it out okay. Anyway, I love each and every one of you guys. Please don't forget to always be yourself. Um, be good to yourself and others. You are valid, and I will see you guys in the next video. Which will probably be in like a day or so. Um, I don't know when I'm recording at the time of the recording now. I don't know when I'm gonna be posting the next thing. But I'm recording this before I'm recording other videos that I'm gonna put up sooner than this one. But if you at the time that you're watching this, the next video is probably gonna be same day or tomorrow. Okay, bye.